and Timothy.
Yes, hi.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
Good, very good.
Awesome. We're real, grateful and thankful that you took the time today to do an interview with us.
Yeah, thank you.
The more I do research about you, the more I was like, damn, this guy is like me. Like, I definitely, a lot of things that you were into, I'm into, a lot of your thoughts. And so it'll be real awesome to pick your mind a little bit.
Cool, man.
First and foremost, I want to say that I'm a fan. Since I was I was younger, and I would follow you guys, and I would always listen to your guys' music, and so it's definitely an honor on my part.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I remember I was married at one point, and it was just a real like terrible relationship for both of us, and at this point in our relationship, it has to do with your guys' music, so bear with me for a second. So,
yeah, no worries.
My wife at the time, she had falsely accused me of domestic violence, and when you're in California, to fight that is hard because the whole OJ thing. So we were trying to make our relationship work, and I was on probation, and we were going to go drop off our son at her mom's, and we're going to go out to dinner and try to work on some stuff. So on our way to go pick up or to drop off our son, I was like, I had a CD in the CD player in our car, and 187 comes on. And we're listening to it, and I said, you know what? There are times that this song reminds me of you. And so she stops the car in the middle of the road, and she goes, get the fuck out of my car. I'm like, what? Get the fuck out. And so I ensued to walk home, and that was the end of our marriage. So
that's probably not the best thing to tell someone.
Yeah, probably not a good idea. So tell me about the new album. That's what I'm very curious what you got working on.
I mean, that's a pretty large question. Specifically, what do you mean?
What is your what has been your inspiration for this album? Like thought processes going through and stories wanting to be conveyed through art.
Overall, the record is about a couple different things. It's about dealing with death. It's about dealing with loss. It's about dealing with sort of disease, and a disease in the specific reference to MS, losing, but also having connection with other people and creating and being able to sort of cultivate a closeness to people while still having the poignancy of knowing that loss is inevitable. So it's, I think, an overall overreaching thing with the record. I
listened to a few of your interviews in preparation for this with other people. And I noticed in your answer right here, you said mortality and coping with death. You went into a little bit of detail with that. Is that something that that weighs on your mind, or your heart or soul?
Yeah, I think once you start to get a little bit older, you start to realize that you're not going to live forever, and you've had a lot of relationships end. You've seen people your age die, and a little older, maybe your parents. You definitely, probably most part, your grandparents. So you're in like a place where, I guess you're kind of middle-aged. I guess you're middle-aged.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say at this point, so you start to contemplate, I only have half my life left, or whatever, and that's like a very, you start to, maybe not everyone thinks about that. Maybe people wait. Maybe people are not there yet. But because my wife had a miscarriage and she has MS, so it's sort of like just kind of like it's in my face, mortality, and I don't know. It's just something that I do. The more connection I make, the more scared of losing I am, in a way. So whenever I have a close relationship with people or cultivate one, it kind of reminds me that it's, the potential of loss is also there as well. So.
Yeah, I feel that. Recently I've been, I'd say past 3 years, I'm 35, so around 32, I started really, that's been the one thing, and trying to figure out, like, all right, is there really life after death? And, or are we just so full of ourselves as human beings that we make this story up that there is? Like, what makes us more special than animals? Or do you feel that after you die, there's a place you go to?
No, I don't think there's a place you go to. I think that the perception of what life is and death is probably not the correct version of what is actually happening. Mm-hmm. The perception of what we perceive to be true maybe isn't. So I don't necessarily know if I believe in the afterlife, but I don't necessarily know if I believe that there's nothing more.
Have you seen Black Mirror?
Sorry?
Have you seen that TV show Black Mirror on Netflix?
No, but I imagine, like, there's been, I think even when you start to get into science and quantum physics and you start to have an understanding of the natural world, things are very strange. We don't know everything, Right. We don't know exactly why a lot of things are the way they are. But I don't necessarily know if it matters. Like, I don't know if what happens in death really necessarily should dictate your life. I don't think that it doesn't. Living your life for what's going to happen after death seems like a limited way to live your life. So it's like almost like sort of what's the point in thinking about what's going to happen after, because that's, I guess one person said it best. I think Roger Ebert said it. He's like, I wasn't scared before I was born, so why should I be scared of death? Which makes a lot of sense to me, because why, what is there? It's not death people are afraid of, it's the loss of connection with the ones that they love and this life that they love. And also, you're a human being, like, you're made to survive. So, of course, you have an instinctual, natural fear of death. So it's pretty normal to, like, not entertain or to, like, be interested in the subject of death or be afraid of it, because it's part of being a human being. It's kind of part of the human process.
Yeah. I think I'm more afraid of just not being.
Yeah, most people are too. I would say most people aren't necessarily afraid of what's going to happen, but just afraid of not being, because non-existence is sort of almost scarier than whatever death is.
Yeah, that's what I would think too. Like, I would be more afraid of non-existence than the devil and hell. Yeah, I mean, the devil, I'm not, the devil exists in your daily life. I don't believe that the devil is, for me it's very hard to believe in a God and a devil, like, in the traditional sense. I'm not against the idea of God as like a, sort of like a catch-all word for the unknowing or the sort of collective conscious, or like a larger connection, but God is like a guy who is
wheeling and dealing results for everyone, plus there's a counterpart that's a devil. I just don't, to me it's hard to believe in that, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort to believe in that, which has always been my misunderstanding with sort of the one God theory is the loops that people have to jump through to keep that in, real is very big, and I can't jump through those hoops. I mean, it would be a lot easier to live life thinking that you have an answer. It's a lot tougher to live not knowing.
I mean, when I was growing up, I brought up in a Catholic home, and it was difficult to suppress, human urges. You know what I mean? And it felt like when I was living my life for a God, it was more of me suppressing who I am. And if I want to go to heaven, like, do I want a fake version of me going into heaven? Because in the back of my mind, I'm always going to want to, jack off or something like that. Or, watch porn or, something, to that effect. Or, say a bad word.
Yeah, I mean, I think religion is something that everybody gets to choose. And, as long as people kind of...
It works for them, huh?
Yeah, as long as it works for them, I mean, that's great. But, as you see, people tend to really want other people to believe in what they believe in, that creates a lot of problems. So.
Yeah, for sure. I saw on your Twitter, maybe Instagram, Twitter, you were asking would people care about your struggle with overcoming drugs. I believe it was on the first. Do you have a book in the works, or is that more of writing for future songs?
No, I'm just trying to figure out what it is people want to know or to hear or are interested in me talking about or writing about, or just overall if that was something people are interested in hearing information on how I did it or how I do it or how I've been sober, sort of dealt with anxiety and depression and loss and those kind of things, and so it's just more just to sort of see if that's something people are interested in or not.
Yeah. How long did you battle with substance abuse?
I mean, I think it's a common misnomer that people are battling with substance abuse. I think that a lot of people that have problems aren't necessarily people that are it's a spectrum, so there's a spectrum of the guy who's drinking so much he can't maintain a job or a house or a relationship, and then there's a spectrum of the guy or woman who has to drink in order to maintain a level of
normality,
functionality, and just because you have a life and a house and a relationship and a kid doesn't mean you're not distracting from reality. So I don't really define it as a struggle, because I think then some people will count themselves, I don't struggle, I just use it as a way to take the edge off. And I think anytime you're taking the edge off with the drug, you pretty much have a potential for a problem. And that's not to say everybody who does it has a problem, but there's definitely a potential problem when you're trying to cope mental and physical symptoms with drugs, and people do it with food, they do it with sex, they do it with work, they do it with working out. There's a million different ways people use distractions and sort of addictive patterns. So I try to not use a struggle, because it counts out a whole bunch of people who would never even think that they necessarily had a problem.
Yeah. Are you sober at the moment?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you? Do you feel? Have you been sober for a long time, or is this like a life choice?
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, congratulations. That's a big, milestone.
Yeah, thanks.
It does, it sort of clouds up your brain, when you're fucking with the shit, and it definitely, I mean, on my part, I noticed that I was fucking around with it, and like I would lose like memories of, you sort of just go on autopilot and you walk by, like I have 2 children, and I would just walk by my children instead of making memories with them. And I didn't let it go on long, a couple months, but like I had so much regret, because I see how fast they grow up. And so I definitely, I understand that struggle.
Yeah.
You are a big WWE fan?
Yeah, definitely.
Dude, me too. Since I was like 2, and like before I started getting into this, that's what my goal was. Is I wanted to be a superstar.
Cool.
And then I got married to that girl and fucked everything up. So this was my second deal. Who are some of your favorites to watch?
I guess all time definitely Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart, The Undertaker. Current guys I really like, Rusev and
Rusev Day.
Seth Rollins. I really like. Who else? I mean, those 2 guys are like top for me, and then yeah, I've come around to John Cena.
Oh, what are you doing?
Oh yeah, that seems great.
Are you excited about the women's Royal Rumble?
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I'm just really
I know, me too. And hopefully, I'm hoping that Kenny Omega comes over on the men's Royal Rumble.
That would be cool.
Because they're building up the Bullet Club or the Balor Club. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they're shit talking. On Monday, they were shit talking like the Bullet Club, the real Bullet Club, on the air.
Yeah.
And so they're either setting it up or they're pissed off. But no matter what, it should be good.
I think they're just trying to take away from. Maybe they're setting up. Maybe they are. They might be. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Out of the songs, I'm going to get back to the album right now. Out of all the songs that are on your album, this new one, what is the one that stands out to you that's more, that you show, or maybe, that you gave your all to, or you feel like that's your baby?
I mean, I wrote them all, so I would say they're all. I wrote the record so that every single song was a single and a hit, or something that people could dig their teeth into. So I really feel strongly about all of them. It's really hard to pick one because I tried to not write them as like this one is better than the other. I wanted them all to sort of just be equally as great. But I would say there's definitely a couple standout tracks like Gold Jacket, Green Jacket, Double Cross, New Jersey Makes the World Takes. I really like this one song. You Get So Lonely at Times That It Just Makes Sense. So yeah, I mean, I'm stoked about every single song on the record, as I think you should be when you write a record. There really shouldn't be like. I mean, there's been songs on records that I don't like. It happens, but when you're the only person in the band, really, and you get to pick all the songs, you don't really have that issue where you're like, I didn't like this song, but everyone else liked it. So, yeah, I'm very excited about all of them.
You've had a lot of lineup changes, 16, I think the last I saw. Do you feel that has to do with maybe do you feel that you might be hard to work with, or creatively hard to work with, or it's just the way it goes?
I don't know. I mean, I'd say that being in a band in your 30s is kind of like a very difficult thing to do, especially if you want to have a family. So most people move on too. I don't really know many people that do things for. It's very rare to find people in general that do something for 15, 20 years. So any sort of business or the place you look, I mean, you're going to see, people who jump on board and do that for 5 years or 6 years and then jump off. I mean, being in a band and touring is not for everyone, and being a musician isn't always the most profitable thing. I would say it has way more to do with money than anything else, why people left the band. Money is a big contributing factor to why people decide to move on. Plus, when you do something for 10 years, when you started when you were like 16, like, you just want to try something else. It's all you've known your entire life. So that's a contributing factor. People want to have kids. People want to work in different jobs. People want to make money. People want to have security, and it's different for everyone. So I really can't say why people have left the band. But I do say that there comes a point where you have to make a decision. Is making music more important to me than X? Mm-hmm. And for people that, almost every single person that's left the band hasn't gone on to, like, do another band. So I don't think it's me, because if they were interested in still making music and it was a matter of, like, I just don't want to be in a band with this guy, they would have gone on and done other projects and continued to, like, try to work in the music industry. And for the most part, except for Dan, I think every single person has just sort of gone on and moved into like a normal kind of like life. Either they've gone to school, or they've gotten other jobs, or they've had families. So I think it's more of just like money. Yeah. You got to make money, and when you're in a band, it's hard to make money.
You also mentioned, your wife battles with MS. How do you deal with that? And what do you guys, and how do you, I saw you're advocating, and do you guys have any, special charities you guys support, or, different organizations you work with?
Hey guys, I was just going to butt in real quick. We've got about 2 minutes left.
All right.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, we do what we can, and, she is on medication, and we maintain a healthy lifestyle, and eat right, and, yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things, if it's not MS, it's cancer, or it's depression or anxiety, and it's everybody has something, and, it's just a way to sort of, like, look at the world. Everybody kind of has something, whether it's one thing or the other, and we all have to deal with things, and that's one of the things that she has to deal with. So, unfortunately, that's a reality, and, we deal with it, and luckily it's not too debilitating, and it's not, doesn't cut her life down, and she's going to live to be old and gray, and MS is something more of just like you have a human body and things are going to go wrong, so you have to sort of like just deal with them and try to deal with them in a way that's positive, and that's what we do.
All right, man. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And I wish you guys a bunch of luck on the album, and hopefully we'll see you on the road.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. I really enjoyed the conversation.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Hey,
Have a good one.
buddy. See ya.